Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 ways that you can manage your money more effectively. If you want to know how to increase your cash flow and set up a budgeting program that actually works, then you're not going to want to miss this video. My name is Paris Clough and this is Financial Self-Reliance. On this channel, we talk about the mindsets and the skill sets of the wealthy so that you can learn how to manage, protect, and grow your assets. If that sounds like the kind of community and the kind of channel you want to be a part of, go ahead and click like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the content that I produce. Now, just as a reminder, April is Financial Literacy Awareness Month. So I wanted to share with you 4 things that you can really do to manage your money more effectively so that you can set yourself up for the best opportunity for financial success. The first thing I want to share with you is understanding something called cash flow. This is how cash flows in and out of your bank account or in and out of your financial program. How much money are you earning? That's the money flowing in. How much money are you spending? That's the money flowing out. A lot of people have the wrong cash flow program. What they're doing is they earn money, they spend it, and then they go borrow some so they can spend even more, and they have nothing left over for savings or investing. The proper way for cash flow in your life is to earn money, to save some or pay yourself first, and then spend it on your bills and the things that you need to spend money on. And then whatever you have left over, spend it on your wants and some investments so that you can have a sound financial future. So the proper way to have cash flow in and out of your life is to make sure that you have more money coming in than what's going out. All right, so the second thing to really help you make sure you manage your money more effectively is to determine what are your wants and your needs. Needs are those things that you absolutely have to survive in society today. Things like food, shelter, clothing, transportation. A want is also some of those things, but you want to eat nicer food, or you want to have nicer clothes, or a nicer car, or a nicer house. Some of the luxuries of life, that's where our wants really lie. So make sure that your wants don't come before your needs. A lot of people will put wants before needs, and then that's where they get in trouble. They end up spending all their money on wants, and they have nothing left over for their needs, and they end up having to go borrow money to pay for their needs when they should have used the money they earned to do that first. Another thing to watch out for, and this is human nature, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll see somebody else have something that's a luxury, and we'll see the benefits that they have in having that luxury, and eventually we'll convince ourselves that we absolutely need to have it. And that want becomes a need. And so that's something to really be careful for, be watchful for. If you have a propensity towards that, make sure that you stay aware of that. It reminds me of a really good quote along these same lines. There, little luxury, don't you cry. You'll be a necessity by and by. What that means is that sometimes we'll convince ourselves that those luxuries are things we absolutely need to have when that's really not true. As an example, several years ago, I bought a drone because I absolutely needed to have it. It was totally a luxury, and frankly, I used it a few times and it's been sitting on the shelf ever since. It wasn't the greatest of drones, but it was one that was pretty good, and I spent a few $100s on it. And it's interesting that I convinced myself that I needed to have it. I ended up buying it, and then all this time it's been sitting on my shelf and it's not even being used. Tell me something in the comments that you've done that with. What if you convinced yourself that you absolutely needed to have, but it ended up that you really didn't need it, or that you haven't even used it, or it's been sitting on the shelf collecting dust ever since you bought it? Put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear some of the things that you've bought in the past. All right, the third thing I want to share with you on how to manage your money more effectively is learn to live within your means. So in the process of learning to live within your means, it's important for you to make a list of all of your expenses. Now you want to break that list up into the 2 types of expenses. The one type is the fixed expenses, those expenses that you spend the same amount of money every month. It's like a car payment, a mortgage payment, or a rent payment, your car insurance, something that doesn't change from month to month. And then there's the variable expenses. Variable expenses could be how much you spend on entertainment, how much you spend on food. Do you go to the grocery store? Do you eat out? Even gas can be a variable expense because you may or may not drive as much in any given month. So what are the variable expenses that you have? Make a list of all the things that you spend money on every month, and then check that against how much money you have coming in. Now the idea is to have more money coming in than the amount of money that you have that you're spending every month, so that you have enough money to save and invest for your future. So this might be a very revealing exercise for you. I'd really like to take a moment right now and direct you to the description below. I've created a free 30-day challenge where I really share with you some ways that you can increase your cash flow over a 30-day period. My challenge to you in the 30-day challenge is how much you can increase your cash flow over a 30-day period following the instructions that I give in the 30-day challenge videos. It's a 4-video course. It's quick and easy, and everyone who's taken the course so far has shared with me some great feedback. I really recommend that you take the opportunity to take my free 30-day challenge. It's free. What do you have to lose? All right, the next thing I want to share with you on how to manage your money more effectively is something that you may not like. The word is discipline. I'd like to share a quote with you at this time by Brian Tracy. The ability to discipline yourself to delay gratification in the short term in order to enjoy greater rewards in the long term is the indispensable prerequisite for success. You've got to learn how to discipline your spending. I call it an accountability program. I call it a tracking system. A lot of people might call it a budget. Although the word budget does tend to have a negative connotation, I highly recommend that you learn how to discipline your spending so that you can have what you want financially. Those people who learn how to discipline their spending are those that will eventually create the financial success that they're looking for. In disciplining yourself, I highly recommend that you go back and you look at all the things that you're spending money on. Look at your wants and your needs. Make sure that you're really focusing in on your needs first, and make sure the things you think you need are really things you actually need and not things that are just wants that you've convinced yourself are needs. Did you follow that? When you take an inventory of the things you're spending money on and you learn to discipline yourself, you'll see the habits that you have in the past that aren't working for you. The easiest way to have financial success is to look at the habits that you have now around money and around spending and around earning income and determine if they're serving you and bringing value to your life. If you have habits that are giving you value, keep them. If you have habits that aren't giving you value, change them. It really is that simple. Learn how to discipline yourself and create habits that are going to serve you financially and give you the rewards that you want to have and lead you down a path towards financial independence and financial success. There's an old saying that you should inspect what you expect. So if you expect to have financial success and you're not doing anything to check in or to make sure or to discipline or to take inventory, you're probably not going to make it. The most efficient way for you to ensure financial success is to have a tracking system where you're inspecting your habits, you're inspecting your expenses, you're inspecting your income, you're inspecting everything that you do around money on a regular basis, because the more you inspect what you're doing, the more that you really take a close look at what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're doing it, the faster you'll be able to make those changes necessary to make sure that you're on track. See, if you're off track, if something you're doing isn't going to lead you in the right direction and you don't know because you're not aware of it, then you're probably going to end up way off your goal. You have to make sure that you stay aware and stay in control of what's going on with your money so that you keep on course. I'm actually teaching my daughter how to drive right now. And one of the things that she's learned as she's trying to stay in the lines on the freeway is that you have to constantly move the steering wheel. You can't just keep the steering wheel set. Otherwise, as you know, if you drive a car, that car is not going to necessarily follow those lines. You have to constantly be making sure you're staying within the lines and moving the steering wheel. That's exactly how things should go with your finances. Constantly be making checkups, inspecting what you're doing every week, every month to make sure you're on track for your goals and what you're supposed to be doing with your money. Once you learn how to manage money effectively, now it will be time for you to grow your assets. Now it will be time for you to grow your income. So if you make more money, but you don't know how to discipline your spending, you're going to end up spending the more money you're making and you're right back in the same place you're in. The best way for you to have financial success is to discipline the money you're spending, make more money, because once you're disciplined, the more money that you make is going to be extra. And use that extra money to get ahead financially, to retire early, to retire on time, to enjoy some of the luxuries. There's nothing wrong with wants. There's nothing wrong with luxuries in life. Just make sure that they're put in their proper place and that you get them after you've taken care of your needs. I hope you got a lot out of this video, and I hope you had a great day, and I really look forward to seeing you on the next video.